An independent witness saw the Flannan Isles lighthouse on December 15, 1900, the day of the final log entry, and recorded what they saw. What they found in that Norwegian ship's log would reframe the entire investigation. Welcome to Untold Lores, the investigation and the evidence that didn't fit, Part 3 of 4. Robert Muirhead submitted his official report to the Northern Lighthouse Board in January 1901. His official conclusion was death by misadventure, caused by a rogue wave or waves striking the western landing while all three keepers were present there simultaneously. The Northern Lighthouse Board accepted this conclusion. The case was formally closed, but the report itself, which survives in full in the Scottish Archive records, contains a number of documented details that Muirhead's own conclusion does not satisfactorily address. The physical evidence at the western landing was significant but also deeply strange. The bent iron railing and the displaced stone block indicated that something had struck the cliff with enormous lateral force. But rogue waves, which strike a cliff face from below and wash upward and over, would be expected to leave vertical damage, not lateral bending of a protective railing. The railing had not been pushed outward toward the sea, as a wave striking from below would cause. It had been bent inward toward the island. This detail is in the official record. Muirhead noted it. He did not offer an explanation for the direction of the force. The rope found coiled on the gantry crane at an above normal height was also never explained. Ropes stored at that height would be inaccessible during normal operations. The gantry was used to raise and lower supplies from boats below. No explanation for its position was offered in the final report. Muirhead examined the eastern landing as well, which was on the sheltered side of the island. He found nothing unusual there. All the evidence of external disruption was concentrated entirely at the western landing. But it also meant that if the men had gone outside to address some emergency at the western landing, they had done so without their oilskin coats, without triggering any requirement for one of them to remain at their post. The log's final entry stated that calm had returned. It did not describe any emergency. It did not describe any reason to go to the western landing. It simply ended. Researchers studying the case in subsequent decades pointed to one additional element that has attracted significant scrutiny: the timing of the storm entries in relation to a documented severe Atlantic storm system recorded by the British Meteorological Office in December 1900. That storm system had passed through the area of the Outer Hebrides not on December 13, 14 and 15 but approximately 3 days earlier. By December 13 the storm system had already moved northeast away from the Flannan Isles. This means that if Marshall was accurately recording weather conditions he was observing, the storm he described on December 13, 14, and 15 was not the documented storm. It was something else. If he was not accurately recording conditions he was observing, if, for whatever reason, he was writing about a storm that was not present, then the question of what actually was happening during those 3 days becomes significantly more disturbing. The Northern Lighthouse Board did not have access to the detailed meteorological analysis that later researchers were able to apply to the case. Muirhead worked with what he had: the log, the physical evidence, and the testimony of Moore. He reached the most rational conclusion available to him. What he could not have known was that a Norwegian sailing vessel called the Urn had passed within sight of the Flannan Isles on December 15, 1900. The Urn's log was examined by researchers decades after the event. The crew of the Urn had seen the lighthouse on December 15. They had recorded its condition, and what they recorded was not 3 men in distress. It was not a wave-struck landing. It was not a damaged lighthouse. What the Urn's crew recorded in their log on December 15, 1900, was that the Flannan Isles lighthouse appeared to be operating completely normally. The crew of the Urn saw the lighthouse on December 15, the same day as the final log entry. They recorded it in their ship's log. The lighthouse appeared to be operating completely normally. And then, between that moment and nightfall, every man inside it vanished. That's it for part 3. Follow Untold Lores for part 4. Like and subscribe for daily stories.